Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl. My name is Lisa, and I'm the gal behind this channel. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, someone who started out as a fellow podcaster, became a very good friend, and now is boyfriend. Welcome to the show, Cory.
Hello, sweetie. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy to have you on here. So, a lot of you guys who are into Buckeye football know Cory's also one of the co-founders of another great channel, Scarlet N Great. So definitely go check that out too. And I wanted to have him on here. We have the Buckeye football season right around the corner. We're all getting very excited. I tuned out for a little bit during the summer just because I to take a break, and the summer was crazy. But now that I'm getting caught back up, I'm getting excited. We are what, 2 weeks, 2 weeks away from the game. When this show comes out, it'll be less than 2 weeks away. So my excitement and my enthusiasm is just, off the charts. It's crazy. I cannot wait for this Buckeye football season. So I'm going to have Cory on here, just chat about a couple things. I think the biggest of which is the most recent announcement about the Buckeye football quarterback, Will Howard. So what are your thoughts on this announcement that Will Howard went ahead and won the starting quarterback job?
Well, I think everybody kind of knew. There was the Devin Brown stands that were kind of holding on to hope there, but everybody kind of knew that Howard came in, and at first I thought he was more of just an insurance policy because Devin had been a little bit injury prone at times, and it's hard to go into the season counting on that when you didn't have anything of experience behind Devin Brown outside of Lincoln Keenholz, and let's be real, it wasn't the best of experiences when he played in the bowl game. So you don't want to go into the next season like that when you're kind of getting everybody back and you kind of expect to compete for a national title. So they went out and got Will Howard, and it wasn't everybody's first thought when they thought about quarterback. There's the guy that went from Washington State to Miami. I'm struggling with his name at the moment, but he wanted too much money, and there's some other issues there. Dylan Gabriel, of course, went to Oregon right away. Didn't even really consider Ohio State. I've seen some fans say, "Why didn't we consider Dylan Gabriel?" Well, we did, but he wanted to go to Oregon. So Will Howard was another kind of a guy who nobody really knew about at Kansas State. But honestly, if you look at his film at Kansas State and hear Kansas State fans talk about him, everybody wants to say that he was getting beat up by a younger guy. No, they wanted to go with a younger guy because Will was in his last season, but Will was a ball player for them, and he won a conference title at Kansas State, which, I mean, come on, it's not easy to do. And now he was in a situation in Kansas State where he didn't have a lot of weapons, and now he's come to a situation where it's just like, just throw it up in the air, somebody will get it, And
that is the truth with this wide receiving core that we have.
Exactly. And on top of that, he's the first quarterback really, and I know CJ was athletic enough, but he wasn't a runner. He's the first quarterback since Justin to really be a threat with his legs, which is also going to help him here. So
yeah.
He's deceptively fast. He's very big. He's already got a leadership role. He's been around the block. He's got a solid arm. He's not Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. I'm a Packers fan, if you couldn't tell. But he's definitely got a solid arm for the college game. And now he's got the best coaching he's ever had in his life. So I expect big things from him.
Yes, same. I am super stoked about that dual threat ability as well. I think that will just take the up to another level. I think it's going to open things up. I think that, him being that threat on his legs, especially, goal line situations and stuff like that, it'll make opposing defenses think an extra second, which is what this offense needs to really push them a little bit further than last year. So I think that'll be super interesting too. You mentioned the Dylan Gabriel, I believe who transferred to Oregon. Since we play Oregon in October, it's going to be a great game. Do you know, is he starting for Oregon?
Oh yeah, he's a great player. He's legitimately. Okay. I think he started out at UCF in my neck of the woods here in Florida, and was always a solid player. Went to Oklahoma, did a great job at Oklahoma, and then obviously fished his way to Oregon. And again, when you're moving from big program to big program to big program, now UCF's not a huge program, but they are Big 12 now, so they've definitely generated some more credibility. But from basically Big 12 to SEC in Oklahoma, now they're SEC anyway. and then all the way to Oregon, Big Ten. You must be a pretty solid player. And
Mm.
Gabriel's put up good numbers. He's a left-hander who's young, or I mean, I won't say young, but he's like on the shorter end of things. He's not like a 6'4", 6'5". When I've watched him play, he's just a player. He's just a
Mm-hmm.
gamer, is what he is, and he's going to be hard to beat. But I do think we're going to be one of the best defenses he faces all year. So we'll see what
Oh,
happens.
absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind about that. This defense is off the chart. It's insane. I'm
On
so
paper,
excited.
it should.
I mean, we saw what they did last year, and they've just gotten better.
I'm just
they,
saying, it just till they hit the field, you just never 100% know. I mean, on
that
paper,
is
they should be.
true, but I'm expecting very big things from them this year.
I agree. Oh,
Um,
we're expecting it for sure. Yeah.
yeah. But let's turn the conversation back to the offensive side of the ball. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about the big change that they made in bringing Chip Kelly in, because that is a huge move for him. Um, it's going to free up his plate, his schedule to really be CEO. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Chip Kelly, what he can provide for this offense, and kind of like brings to that.
Chip Kelly has kind of a checkered record as a head coach. Extremely successful at Oregon. Really was you could say, the driver of their rise. He was I think he was the originator of them becoming Oregon we know today. Um,
Yeah.
he's an offensive genius, legitimately. He is one of the greatest offensive minds in all of football for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I liken this hire to Urban Meyer hiring Kevin Wilson, uh,
Mm.
because we were struggling with play calling, struggling with basics infrastructure of offensive systems with Ed Warner as the offensive coordinator. We hired in-house
Mm-hmm.
because it made sense, and he goes out to get Kevin Wilson. Of course, he also brings in Ryan Day. We know how that went, but
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Wilson to me was such an exciting hire because he's also another great offensive mind and innovator. And I thought, what a brilliant hire. He had just got fired from Indiana for questionable reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
this is what's different here. Chip Kelly to me is like a Kevin Wilson hire, is why I'm bringing that up. Former head
Mm-hmm.
coach, an offensive innovator, and to add to it, in a mentor to Ryan Day. And
Mm. Yeah.
the the great thing about it is, to me, this is the big thing, is Chip Kelly just really wants to coach. And
Mm-hmm.
he at UCLA, when you're the head coach in today's landscape of football, you really have to be a fundraiser, you have to be a recruiter, you have to be a CEO, you have to do a bunch of other things. You can't do that and be offensive coordinator at the same time, which is Ryan Day's role. And so this program, I wouldn't say was quote unquote suffering, but it was starting to slip a little. We were
Mm.
sure weren't asserting our dominance over that team up north. Now there's some questions as to why, but anyway,
Major questions.
exactly. But that aside, we were starting to get, just beyond that game, we were getting the moniker of being soft. I don't think we were being soft. I just think our execution at times was clunky because I think Ryan Day was wearing too many hats. Bring in Chip
Mm.
Kelly, somebody he can completely trust with the offense, who just came from being a head coach and quite frankly did an okay job with UCLA. UCLA is a hard nut to crack. Um,
Yeah.
and he came here knowing that the boosters will never get behind him in a way that he needs to be with UCLA in order to make that a successful program. So he comes to another successful program where the boosters are all in, the foundation, the NIL packages are all in. Got a great head coach in Ryan Day. I'm sorry, I will call him a great head coach. Yes, he's had some fumbles, but he's in year 5 or 6 of his young head coaching career. Let's give him a
Yes.
break. I know I've been
Yes.
harsh on him at times. I admit it. I fully own it. But at the same time, his ascension is still on the uprise. Um,
Yes.
so you bring in Chip Kelly, a guy he knows can just handle the offense. And there was a story in one of the I can't remember which publication it was. I'm not trying to take credit for it, but it was where Chip Kelly basically told Brian Hartline, "Your receivers aren't blocking. They're not blocking well enough. You want the running backs to block and pass pro, but you receivers need to block on the perimeter so we can spring the run game. We got two fantastic running backs to do
Mm-hmm.
that with, and a quarterback who can make you hurt. It can hurt you too with his feet. We need the perimeter to be blocked better." And Brian
Mm-hmm.
Hartline, as we all know, Ohio State royalty. He's up and coming coach, great recruiter. We all know who he is. But Chip Kelly to come in and not even have problem asserting his dominance and say, I'm the OC, I'm the guy, I'm the man here, I'm in charge of the offense, I'm the head coach of the offense. And to bring that innovation, to bring that level of discipline, that little level of control, I think is just going to do wonders for our offense, especially with all the weapons we have. And I love the fact that there's a guy who can just, like, I don't have to worry about the head coaching crap. I can just focus on coaching. And let Ryan Day become the CEO he needs to be, and let Ryan Day switch from position to position for practice. I don't have to coach quarterbacks today. I can go to special teams today. I can do running backs today. I can do whatever. Another one, by the way, I need to bring him up. Coach Locke is looking like the dude so far. I'm really enjoying the clips with him. But yeah, Chip Kelly, I grade that higher in A+ on paper. It was just an absolute home run. I mean, Bill O'Brien, I liked Bill O'Brien, but he was a completely different style, more of a quarterback guru. I was fine with him. I was ready to roll with him. He took the job at Boston College. No hard feelings. I get it. His son has special treatment at Boston Hospital. Completely understand why he took the job. No hard feelings whatsoever. It allowed us to get Chip Kelly, who might be a better fit for Ryan Day. So I expect big things.
Overall, that Chip Kelly has that experience. He has that insight. He can make these calls like you were talking about and back it up because he has that head coach experience. I think just having that head coach mentality too, it gives him a heads up to run this offense even better because he knows what the head coach is thinking. He can kind of be one step, ahead or in sync a little bit with Ryan Day. He's looking for because he knows those responsibilities that are on Ryan's plate right now, and he knows how to best support him in that. So I think it's great too. Overall, I'm really excited to see what this offense looks like with him at the helm. It's going to be a little bit different, but also again very, very. I have another question. So this team has so many strengths, so many strong points, but I'm curious to hear, what do you think the weak link of this team is going to be this year?
Well, I don't know about the kicker, and I'm being serious. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but I mean, I don't know about him. I think it's fielding again. I'm not sure. Really, the kicking game all around, because special teams last year was a serious weak link with Parker Fleming the last couple of years, really. And we're doing a different coaching style with these two coaches handle this portion of the spring of the special teams, and the other two coaches handle this portion of the return game or whatever, and who's handling the kicking game and things like that. So it's being split up more Jim Tressel style, and it worked for Jim Tressel because he put such a focus and emphasis on special teams. And I love that Ryan Day went to him and said, "How did you do it? Because I'm failing clearly." And one of Ryan Day's failures has been for the defense was bad for 2 years. That was a mistake on his part. But again, it's hindsight. A lot of us were excited. Cory Combs had come back to Ohio State, but Parker Fleming, another mistake. And hindsight, right? And he was bad at his job. We were all hoping he'd get move on to greener pastures or whatever. And for whatever whatever it was, he went on somewhere else, and we changed completely how we coach special teams. So how does that work this year? How does that look this year? We know the offense will be good with Chip Kelly and Ryan Day in the building. That offense is going to be good with all those weapons. It's insane. I think I would have said the offensive line, but I really truly believe that if the offensive line isn't good this year, Justin Fry needs to go completely. You have everybody is got starting experience from Jonathan Simmons to Donovan Jackson to Seth McLaughlin, Carson Hinsman, or Ted Gurr. The only thing is Ted might have won that right guard spot. We don't know yet. But if he beat out a guy who's been playing, who played and started all year, that means that Ted obviously must be pretty good. And
putting in the work.
Exactly. And then you got Josh Fryer, who, according to everybody else, has changed the complexity, or the not complexity, but how his body looks and everything like that. His body, he's changed. He's muscled up pretty much. And then I'm kind of curious to see if he's gotten better on the right tackle spot. But he's got starting experience. They all do, except for Tegra. There's no reason that line shouldn't be good. So the special teams for me, which was a weakness last year, there's nothing we can say right now with regard to camp to say that it's going to be a strength, and it can lose you ball games. You know, it can
Mm.
if you mistake on a fake punt or you miss field goals or your
Oh
punting
my.
game is really good. Yeah, that thing can. I mean, look, we're going to be. Look at the playoffs that are going to be this year. 12-team playoffs. We hope to get that first round bye, but then every team you're playing is good. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Yep.
So you could easily pull another Georgia and lose off a field goal. Just
Mm.
saying, I'm hoping that's more of a strength than it has been in the Ryan Day era.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. When I was thinking about potential weaknesses, I mean, obviously last year was offensive line and special teams. Again, we've been hearing how the offensive line has been improving throughout, spring practice, fall
Mm-hmm.
practice now, fall camp. And I'm hoping that what we see on the field looks way better than what we saw last year when it comes to that. And it sounds like it will be. But yeah, again, special teams, we haven't heard a lot about that. We haven't heard much coming out as far as reports go. So that's a giant question mark in my mind. And when I think of all the other positions, they feel pretty locked in as far as
Yeah.
starters and, having some depth back there with the majority of the positions too, and having, other players that we can fall back on if it needs to be next man up. But yeah, that special teams got me a little nervous. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it needs
Um,
to get better. Ordinarily, I would pretty much know what to expect when the Parker were back. I'd say it's going to be mediocre to not to below average. But with the new coaching style that we're implementing with that, we got a lot of really good coaches on that staff. So very curious to see how they split it up. And I actually trust guys like Coach Lachlan and Brian Hartline to take care of special teams and portions of it than I do Parker Fleming. So
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. So, do you have any overarching thoughts about this season?
it's got to be Natty or bust this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder than ever to win a national championship, though. It's funny how people said, well, it was easier once you added four teams. No, it wasn't easier. It just allowed for more opportunities, but it didn't
Mm,
make it easier. Like if the BCS read you as one or two, you played that number one team, you played one game, and it was for all the marbles. Now it's like, okay, I just beat Bama in the Sugar Bowl, but now I got to go play Oregon in the national title game. And now it's become, well, if you don't get that first round bye, you're looking at potentially one, two, three, 4 games somewhere around there. So
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's going to be harder than ever. So I'll put it this way: it's going to be a murderer's row to get to the national title. And
Hmm.
if Ohio State I think they should be one of the favorites to win it. But if they don't win it because they slip up in the semifinal or something like that, it won't be, in my opinion, a failure of a season because it's just harder than ever to get there.
Mm.
There's no way. I want to prepare people. There's no way they're going undefeated. I just want you all to know that. I hope you understand. There's going to be a loss, maybe two. I think the time of undefeated play is over completely now. It's done. I don't think it's there. I don't know if we're ever going to see another undefeated team.
We'll see. We'll see. That's definitely some food for thought that it is going to be harder than ever to get there. I don't know. I've got a feeling about this season. I'm feeling really good about this team. I'm feeling good about their hunger, about all the guys who came back when they could have gone on to the NFL. And I think they've got what it takes. Again, you never know how the season's going to play out. You just don't. You can't predict that fully. But
That's why it's fun to watch.
that is true. It makes it fun to watch. But I've got a very good feeling about this team. I think they're going to go all the way. But again, that's why we watch the game because it's never, a sure thing until it's a sure thing. So,
Exactly. Until that clock hits double or quadruple zeros on that last game, you just
oh,
don't know.
yes, yes, you really don't know. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on my show, Cory. I love talking Buckeye football. I'm so excited for this season coming up and all the games that we have in front. It's going to be a good one. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget to go check out Cory. He's on Twitter. He's pretty active. He's got a lot of great Buckeye insight. He tweets much more often than I do. I feel like I've hardly been on there, in the spring and the summer.
I
I'll be
could
on
have tweeted once in the last 2 months. It'd be more often.
there. I know. I'll be back though. I'll be back. And check out Scarlet N Great too. They put out great content and have a lot of Buckeye insight as well. So awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on here, Cory.
I don't know how you scheduled me, but I made time for you, I guess.
And I appreciate that. All right, until the next show, OH.
Buckeye!